Well, hey, good morning and welcome back, everybody, once again to Photography Weekly. This is Jack's Tech Corner, and today's show is episode number 61 of Photography Weekly, Sunday, September 16th, 2012. Welcome back, and welcome to Season 2. Coming up in today's show, do you use lens filters? I mean, we have so many of them. We have lens filters all over the place. You know, do you use them? Or how to use them, and what are they used for? We need to talk about that today and see what we're going to be getting into with this stuff. Also, if you don't have lens filters, can you do this stuff in the editor? Is that possible, Jack? Could it be? It can be, and I'm going to show you a nice way that you can use some lens filters, basically, or whatever you want to call these things. These are lens filters, but in your program it may be called something different, but we're going to look at that, and I'm going to teach you how to do it also in the editor. And today we are taking Skype calls. Once again, Skype is open. You can Skype me at Jack's Tech Corner, or you can just simply pick up your phone and call 724-701-0911. So with that said, folks, let's get started here with episode number 61 for September 16th, 2012. Okay, well, hey, welcome back, and I see a lot of you in the chat room here this morning. We are going to give our official shout-outs and see who's in there this morning, and talk about that for just a minute, welcoming everybody back. So I'd like to say good morning to Andy Taylor, to Brian, Fabian, Flyer here, Jeff, Jessica, Jody, Mike JP, Serena. Notice I say Serena. It's Serena. Teresa. User 2552. Jeff, good morning to you. And user 6217. You could change those by simply putting a / Nick in the line there and just change your name to whatever you want it to be. So, you guys forgot to hit play on the box there. Well, hopefully everybody's going to hit play now. Because if you didn't, you're probably not even hearing this yet. So hopefully you'll hit play on the actual box. Now with that, we got everybody rocking in there and talking this morning already. That's good to see. You know, it's been a long time. It seems like that 2-month break there, 3-month break in that off season seems like a long time to be away. So I've done a couple things. I'm trying to watch the chat room too. I see a couple of you saying the video could be freezing a little bit. Hopefully we'll get that cleared up. Yeah, sometimes the video stream has to catch up to itself. Sometimes that's where it's at. So it could be also if we start having more trouble, we'll shut Skype down because Skype seems to be a culprit a lot of times. It eats up a lot of the necessary bandwidth that we got to deal with. But and we don't have much of that, and we discussed that before. But let's go ahead and get started here and talk about today's show. The first thing I want to tell you about is there's a company that came out with a brand new camera this week. It was released kind of like on a midnight release, and then they kind of displayed it to everybody on their webpage. Well, I happen to follow them on Facebook, and I got a Facebook post that said, look, here's a new camera, check it out. And I did. Once I checked this camera, I thought, well, I need to put that in my wish list right away, which then I did. I put it in my wish list, and it's ready to be purchased. They're not out yet. They're not quite released, so we're going to go ahead now. I'm going to show you a little video clip of that camera and show you the camera that I'm interested in. Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, well that's it. The new Nikon D600. Now here was a thought I had though, was how did they come up with that number? You know, the newest full frame camera that Nikon came out with was actually the D800, just about maybe a year ago now, maybe not quite that. And now all of a sudden they go backwards in numbers, but I guess because they made a smaller frame. It's the first small frame, small body frame, you know, small casing, full frame camera that's lightweight and very easy to carry around. It's also the first of the Nikon line that I noticed that has the pop-up flash on the top that works with the Nikon lighting system. Now, don't run away. I know all you guys aren't Nikon fans out there. A lot of you guys are Canon fans and some other cameras out there, and that's absolutely fine. That's fine. Don't worry about that. But I just wanted to throw that out there to show you that there is something new, that I'm trying to keep up on stuff here for you guys to show you how this stuff actually comes out there and just to introduce it to you. So with that said, this morning we talked about lens filters. That's what I'm going to talk to you about today, is lens filters, how these filters work, and how these filters go on your lens, and why do you want a filter? I mean, with today's technology, with today's photo editing, do you even need filters? I mean, or is it a thing of the past? Well, I believe in trying to capture a picture in camera. If you capture it in camera and it's a beautiful picture, you may not have to do any editing to it. Now, with that said, we are going to pop those out of your ears. Sometimes you don't realize how hard it is listening to yourself. I don't want to listen to myself like that. So anyway, so what we're going to talk about today is the actual filters themselves. And I'm going to show you here, if you've never used a filter, how they go in the camera, what to look for, and you know, actually why we have so many different filters. Now first, before we start that, what I'm going to do here first of all is I'm going to give you a definition of a filter. And this is actually a definition I found actually on the web, so I'm just going to kind of read it to you because I feel that we should have a true definition instead of actually me making something up. I don't want to do that for you guys. So camera filters are either transparent, which would be a UV filter, it's transparent, or translucent optical elements. So there's different kinds, different colors, and they alter the properties of the light entering the camera lens for the purpose of improving the image to be recorded. Now, in a nutshell, that's exactly what a filter is. When I started preparing for this lesson, folks, I was even amazed on how many filters there are. You know, I know like some of the filters I use, I'm going to show you is the circular polarizer filter. I mean, I use it a lot. I'm going to show you some examples of that. You know, the UV filters, I have them on all my lenses. If you do not, please buy one. If you watched my lens video I did on YouTube about a month ago, I stress so hard that you use a UV filter on your lens, and I'm going to tell you why in just a couple minutes. Okay. Now, but I was surprised on how many different filters there are, such as ultraviolet, special effects filters, star effects, light balancing, color grid. I'm not going to go through all these. What I am going to do is after the show, I will put this up on my website under the show notes. We're going to put that in there, and so you guys can click on this link and actually read through this information. It's very good information. But you know, there's filters on here for infrared. Does anybody shoot at night? It never dawned on me to get an infrared filter and shoot at night. I bet you that's pretty cool. Neutral density filters. A lot of you guys talk about neutral density filters, and a lot of you actually talk about buying one. And we're going to ask the chat room here a little bit if anybody has one and how that affects your pictures, because I don't have one. Polarizing, contrast control, color conversion, filters obviously for color, and the list goes on and on and on. There is so many different filters that you can buy still yet. So if they have that many filters, and if they're still that popular, people must be using them, correct? Correct. They are using them. I know I do. Probably not as much. Sometimes I'll get home from a shoot, like from a nature shoot or something, and I'll be out and I'll come home and think, Jack, you should have got that filter out of your bag. would have made sense, right, to grab the filter and just screw it onto the lens there and just take some more shots with it just to see what I get. So I'm going to be doing more of that, and hopefully all of you will be too. So let's go ahead and get rid of that web page. Okay, first thing we're going to talk about here, and these show notes are going to be pretty good for you folks out there, because I've done today, so somebody said, Jack, you took a rest, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Jeff. Said I had a good break, I had a rest there, so I became more prepared for the show today for you guys. And what I mean by that is I have a lot of show notes that I actually have written down to kind of follow, because how many people know that sometimes Jack goes off the side, off the deep ends, right? Everybody out there? So today we're going to start, and we're going to walk through these things one at a time. I'm going to tell you how to do this stuff. We're going to talk about each one of these in this lesson. So, first of all, lenses come in different sizes. Okay, is that correct? Everybody believe me? Lenses come in different sizes, different openings on the front, and you have to know what size filter to buy, because not one size filter fits all. That's wrong. That is a very big misconception. If anybody ever tells you that in a store, run from the store, because they don't know what they're talking about. All right. So how do we know what size of filter to buy? Well, the way we know what size filter to buy, and this was a question early on when I started looking at filters, I'm thinking, because I'm like you guys, hey, I had to learn this stuff somewhere too. I'm just happy now that I can bring it to you. I can present it back, kind of paying it forward, I guess. But the funny thing about the whole thing was, I thought, where can I find out what size lens this is? Because if you look on your lens, it says Nikon DS AFS Nitecore 18 by 135, 3.5 to 5.6. Tells me it's a DX lens, It doesn't tell me anywhere on that rating right there, on that top part, what number of filter I should buy. Now, if I go on the bottom, there is something here on the end that says 0, or a 0 with a slash in it, 67. Now, that is the actual filter size. But a better way to find out what filter size you need, and it's so easy that it threw me off. Right here, I'm going to try to switch a camera over here, and we're going to try to look at this together. Right here, you can see that. You see where it says 67 millimeters? You see, 67 millimeters. It's on the cap. It's right on that cap, on the lens cap. How ingenious was that for somebody to do that? That's pretty crazy. So I thought, wow, that was all right. So it's on the lens cap. Tells you exactly what to buy. Let's put this camera around over here. And we'll now look at this is my wide angle lens. And this one actually has it on here. We'll bring this camera back up here again. Let's see if we can show it to you. Right there. You see where it says 077? It's really a 0 with a slash through it, 77. If anybody knows what the 0 with the slash is in there, please put it in the chat room. Love to hear from you. But if we look at under this lens cap again, and you look somewhere on there, we're going to try to get this in the light here so you can see it. It says 077 or 077 or 77 millimeters basically is all that is. So it's on the lens cover. It's very easy to find. Now that you know what size of lens to buy, before I show you the actual lens cover, let me put my lens back down here. Let's talk about where to buy your lens filters. Now, you can go to B&H Photo Video. You can go to Adorama, which I've purchased. Matter of fact, this lens that I just showed you came from Adorama. You can go to any of the photography places in your hometown and pick up a lens filter. I picked them up at Best Buy before we went on our cruise. I run out and I bought they sell the Rocket Fish is what they sell. It's called a Rocket Fish. It's very good. But folks, the first place you should turn for lens filters is eBay. Yep, good old eBay.com. I know even I'm an Amazon fan, but I think you may find better deals on eBay. I found this set, and I don't really know the vendor. You can look for it yourself if you wish. This is a 3-box set. It's a 77 millimeter. It's for my wide angle lens. It's a 77 millimeter. And in the 3-box set came a UV, a CPL, which we'll talk about that in just a minute, and an FL-D. That's what came in the box. And this guy sells all different box sets. But you know, it's really nice. They come pre-packaged, individually packaged, and there's a case that comes with it. Look at this case. Now, I want anybody that has a high-speed internet at your house, and I want you to shoot over to B&H and look for a lens filter. Look for a 77 millimeter UV filter, just one. 77 millimeter UV filter. Now, what you're going to look at in there, and you're going to say, holy cow, they want $30, $40. This 3-box set that I bought was no more, I'm looking back a little bit, but no more than maybe $11. Now people will say, well, they're not clear, they're not real glass, maybe, they're whatever. They are glass, they are clear. They came straight from China. There's no middleman markup, you know what I mean? I bought it, it gets shipped to me, and I have it. So like, buy your filters. Look first on eBay, especially if you're looking at UV filters. That's what we're going to talk about here now. And if you watched my lens video, you would notice it that the filters themselves on the UV filter, I've gotten so much turmoil over this, and so many people tell me all the time, Jack, you're just wrong. This is not right. A UV filter does cast light, or does color cast over your picture. If it does, send it back because it's broken. It's no good. You have a spot on it. Something's wrong with it. A UV filter is no more than an ultraviolet filter. It protects your lens from ultraviolet light. So then people tell me, well, Jack, then why do you want to use it inside? With fluorescent lights or with incandescent bulbs? Why in the heck would you do that? Because if I'm at a wedding and I drop my lens, I would rather break $11 or $20 or $30 filter than $500 piece of glass, a $500 lens. I don't want to break this. This I don't care about. This I care about. That's why I keep my UV filters on my lenses all the time. If you're out and you're doing some stuff outside and you want to go ahead and you want to take your lens and you change your lens and you're doing landscape photography and you drop this thing and it hits a rock, wouldn't you rather the lens filter crack than the lens? So let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at the lens filter itself on here. This is actually a UV filter on this wide angle lens. And I'm going to show you a little bit about this and how to make sure you get on there and how to make sure we don't get any spots, because that is important. And I'll show you where you can actually get the spots at. Let me switch over to the other camera here. Maybe before we do that, let me look back through the chat room just to see if there's any questions from you folks out there. Kevin, welcome. I'm glad you made it in there, sir. Let's see here. Talking about the D600. I see we're talking about that. And okay, Andy Taylor has a skylight. I'd like to hear more about that filter and a UV on all of his lenses except the 12 by 24 to protect the front element. You have to get one for your 12 by 24. This is the Dokina 12 by 24. It takes a 77 millimeter lens. Let's see. Jessica, I'm glad you're interested in the topic. Jake the Snake, good morning to you. Let's see here. Good morning. Jessica says she has a set. See, that's the whole thing with filters. You could have them. A lot of people own them and never use them. A lot of people own them and never use them. Fabian has a skylight for all of his lenses. I'd like to know more about that. I'm going to have to research more of that, folks, because like I said, this is definitely a two-way learning street here. Okay, so for those that use it, for those of you folks out there that actually use filters and know how to use them, bear with me. We're going to go through this anyway, just to show folks out there maybe that never used a filter how to use it, the proper way to put it on the lens, and what to do before you put it on. I think this is critical anytime you're going to use a filter. Now, we're going to go back to my desk cam. And this desk cam is not an HD camera. This desk cam is actually a just a standard def camera. Okay, folks, so here's what we're going to look at first. This is the UV filter. All right, it screws on the camera. It screws on the lens. It doesn't screw on the camera. Now I want to try to show you something, and I hope the camera can pick this up. These threads, if you can see those, are very, very fine threads. These threads, if you cross thread them, you're toast, right? If you cross thread them, you're going to either ruin the lens, or I hope you would just ruin the filter. Throw the filter away and buy a new one. Don't try to pound this thing with a hammer. That's a bit ridiculous, okay? Put my lens up here. Now, the first thing I like to do before I ever place a filter on top of my lens, especially UV, because the UV you're going to put on like as soon as you buy it to protect it, because you don't want that glass getting broken. Remember, you want this. And if you look on here, there's a good, well, below that, below this, there's probably a good 1/4 inch, maybe an 1/8 inch. So someone would have to penetrate through this and go through your actual lens. But if this cracks, then this is safe. All right. Now, the first thing I like to do is I like to get a lens cloth. Okay. I always take my UV filters. I hold them up and look at them. I take my lens cloth out and I start wiping it. And then I look at it. I keep looking at it to the light. Look at it through the up to the light, and you're looking for any spots or any markings on there. And folks, if somehow this got scratched, throw it away and buy a new one, because you're going to be doing a lot of photoshopping to remove the scratch. Okay. There you go. So that is clean. I know that is good. I'm going to lay that there. The next thing I do is I take my lens and I make sure the lens is clean. A lot of times dirt will get in there before you put it on. Dust will fall in there. And, you know, it's just kind of common sense stuff that you'd want to do before you just slap a filter on here. So let's go ahead and wipe this off. And we're going to wipe that off. Make sure it doesn't have anything on it. And then we're going to go over here, and we're going to actually take this and actually screw this right on here. But again, just kind of set it on there and just turn it very gently. Alright, just like that. Now, don't get a pipe wrench on here and just twist it. You know, you don't need a pipe wrench on this thing. Just hand tight it. It's not going anywhere. It's snug on there. Now, what I like about it, a lot of people say, well, Jack, then my lens cap won't work. Yeah, it will. These are made so your cap still works, right? Look. It still clicks in there. It still holds. It's not going anywhere. Now, with that said, people say, well, Jack, that's great. Now, I'm going to be out somewhere, and I'm going to have to put a new lens filter on here. Now, I have to remove my UV filter. My lens can get dirty because I'm outside. Yeah, not really the case either. Let's look at that. So here is our FLD filter, or it's a magenta color filter. If you can see that, you can probably see that right in that camera. Does that show justice? How everything's turning kind of a purple color, or magenta, right? There you go. You see the threads on here? Look, there's threads on the filter itself, and look. Oh, wait, Jack, you can stack them? Get out. Yep, you can stack them. There's 2. You can stack 3, 4, 5, whatever you want to do on there. Then, the cap will still fit, and you still won't lose your cap. So now you don't have to worry about the inside of your lens actually getting dirty. I would suggest to hold that a little bit before we get this off of here. Just like so. Alright. There's our UV filter. Again, the UV filter has no color to it. It has no contrast. It is just pure. Yep, Jack dropped the filter. And that happens. Rather drop my filter than my lens. Now, this one, as I said, is the FLD filter that came with my kit. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on that camera down there. The FLD filter came with my kit, and this is a magenta. Now, this one is a filter that I used on vacation. This is a CPL, much like this one. I bought this from my stock lens. It's a circular polarizer filter. It's one of the most popular filters next to the other one we talked about earlier that a lot of people want to get. Now, a circular polarizer filter. Let me move this lens out of the way. Alright. Now, on this one, the way this works is, if you can see this, it actually rotates. Now, why does it rotate? Basically, why it rotates is on this one, there is, and I'm going to try to get this as right as possible. There is a clear side on one half of it and a bluer side on the other half. So when you're outside, these are really, really nice for landscapes. These, and I know we've learned a lot with my videos that I've done in the past years and recently, how to change the skyline. We know that we can turn this and we can take that skyline and make it blue. I took it on vacation because we were in a cruise ship, and I thought, well, it should be great for the other way. Turn it the other way if you're shooting water. You can actually make the water blue or more blue. You can even take this thing, if you want to be real creative, and turn it half and half. So you get half blue and half clear, if that makes sense. It is a great filter to have. It is one of the more expensive filters that you'll find out there because it has dual purposes and it has a mechanism that allows this to roll. But you will find them out there, and they're not really that bad, especially, like I said, if you buy it with the kit that I have there. Now, that is that one. Alright. Now I want to go ahead and show you a couple examples of this actual filter. Let me bring this up here. Let me bring it up. And we'll get this on here now. Actually move this over here. And I'm just going to capture an area here for us just so we can get a better look at this. I know some things don't translate well across the internet here to you guys, so I want to make it as decent as possible. Alright, so this is done with a circular polarizer filter, and it is done basically by turning the filter over, and I cast it across the water. Now this one actually is one I took when we came off the ship after we were docked, and I took it and actually rotated the polarizer around, put the blue across the top, and you can see here that I actually got the top of it, the sky, more blue. At that point the water was pretty good because the water down here didn't look too bad to begin with. But when I was out in the ocean, you know, when we were actually they were turning the ship around the dock, it was interesting because the water had a lot of fog on it, so it made it kind of a white cast. There's another one with the filter turned around, so we're actually shooting the water on that one. And you get the idea. There's another one actually. I turned the filter around and actually shot, and I was able to put more emphasis on making the water a deeper blue, and actually even help with the boat, with the blue on the boat. But it doesn't really give a blue cast to everything, so the orange still prevailed through there pretty well. So that is that part. Okay, Brian had a good question, a really good question in the chat room. Thanks, Brian. I really, really like that. And you are right, Jody. Very good. See how the chat room can answer these questions? When you turn the circular polarizer filter, Brian, Jody's right. You're not changing the focus at all. All you're changing is the light and the color, or the light penetrating through to change the actual picture itself. The focus is still completely handled by the camera, and the focal point focus will never change. So very good question. Very good answer, Jody. Thank you very, very much. All right. I'm just bringing the chat room over to the other window here so I can read it. Andy said right, that is the thing. Focus first, and then adjust your CPL, or your circular polarizing filter. Very good. Very good question. Andy, let's see. Jessica said you didn't know you can stack filters there. I brought something new to the table this morning. That's good. I was worried about these shows when I'm putting them together. It's like, are we actually going to bring anything new to these folks? These folks are photographers. You guys know stuff, you know. And I'm presenting to a crowd basically, you know, of my peers. So I want to make sure that I have something fresh and new. So I'm glad that helped you. Oh, okay, Jody. I have to go back and look at that hawk picture and see that again. Very good. And Jeff says I always have a lens hood on UV edit sliders in Photoshop. Okay. I was trying to see, does the lens hood work? The lens hood should still work. It shouldn't matter, right? Yeah, the lens hood would still fit with the lens filters. So I don't think that's a big question here. Hold on a minute. Let me... So as you can see here, the lens hood is on with the dual filters. There's still stacked of filters in there, but the lens hood is riding on the outside of the actual lens. So, I mean, it still works okay. All right. All right. And it does, Jessica. It depends on the type of lens hood, I guess. Some screw... Oh, okay, so some might screw... I didn't know that. Some lens hoods might screw in on the inside, and that could make a difference. And it would make the filter more difficult to adjust. That is a correct assumption there. I like that. Okay. Andy asked if you get these stuck together, he's stating, use a rubber band on each filter ring to get a better grip. That's a great idea, Andy. Thanks for bringing that to the table. I'll have to throw a maybe a wider rubber band now into my photo bag. That's perfect. I really appreciate that. Okay. So with that said, I get to go at this point and refill my coffee cup. We get to take a short commercial intermission here, short break. Please pay attention to these commercials, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how to actually, and I don't like that camera on, I'm going to show you how to actually do some filter work in Photoshop Elements 10, and I'm sure you can do this in other editors as well, but we're going to take a few minutes, and I'm going to show you in Photoshop Elements 10 how to add the filters. I mean, if you don't have these, you know, this show is not one of those shows where I you know, advertise stuff. I want you to buy all this stuff. I mean, if you don't have them, you don't have them. Don't worry about it. Maybe you have a point and shoot camera, right, that don't take filters. Don't worry about it. We can still do some lens filtering, and I'm going to show you that in just a couple minutes. Matter of fact, I think this short break here for our sponsors is about 3 minutes, or it gives you time to fill up your wine glasses if the time is correct. Or if it's earlier morning like it is on the West Coast, you may want to get another cup of coffee, and that's where I'm heading. So I'll be right back. I'd like to thank you once again for watching Photography Weekly each and every week. And I wanted to say a special thank you and a little short commercial break here for our sponsors of this show. First and foremost, let me send out my special invitation to you there to come over to jackstechcorner.com. I have a brand new Elements 10 Volume 1 DVD, and it's going for $20. And if you pull this pull down menu down, you'll see a lot of other options in there for you also. Or if you'd rather, instead of learning on a DVD, and if you have high-speed internet, you may want to sign up for one of my online classes. The online classes are there for you, and they are on Lightroom 4 for all. It's a very easy way to learn Lightroom 4. And there is a Elements 10 class, actually the one on DVD, that will be coming out as a online class. So you will have actually that option also. Next, let me thank our friends over at SmugMug. SmugMug is where I do all my professional printing at, and I wish that you would sign up also. If you go to my website, jackstechcorner.com, on the left-hand side there's links. If you click on that link and enter the special code, you'll get a 20% discount. And that's huge because the Pro version is $150. So if you take 20% for that, you're going to be good to go. Save a ton of money and start making money right away. Or you can use them for all your personal printing needs for whatever type of photography printing you want to do. Next, if you do any green screen photography, then check out Ken's site, greenscreenwizard.com. Once again, go to my website, jackstechcorner.com, click on the link on the left, and that way Ken will know that you're coming from Jack's Tech Corner. Once again, that's greenscreenwizard.com for all your green screen photography and now video needs. And a special hello and thank you to our friends over at Amazon.com. If you're buying anything from Amazon, and man, don't we all buy from Amazon anyway? Go to my website, jackstechcorner.com. On the left again, click on the link to go to Amazon before you buy anything. That gives us like a 1% deal there of your total sell. So it helps the site out here, it helps us out, and it keeps it so we can buy new equipment to keep bringing you these great shows and keep on going. So if you're buying from Amazon, just go ahead and click that link and buy as you normally would. And I'd like to thank our HDR sponsors, HDR Soft and Photomatics. Photomatics does a great job. I'm using the Pro version now, Photomatics Pro 4.2, and the Lightroom plugin, and it is absolutely fantastic how it's integrated with Lightroom. So once again, that's Photomatics by HDR Soft, and you'll find those at hdrsoft.com. Download the trial version today. You won't be upset or disappointed. So that's it. Let's get back onto the show here and more learning. Okay, very good. Well, hey, we all made it back. Everybody's still in there. Hopefully everybody got your just bring this microphone up here a little bit. I was kind of worried about the new placement of the mic there to make sure we can actually do some editing together. See where this camera should be sitting, whatever we want to do here with it. There we go. Okay, let me see here. Just gotta move some windows out of the way, and I think we're about ready. Move my chat window out of the way here. Yes, Serena, this is being recorded. Yes, we are recording. Plus using Justin TV. Let me address that first before we go any further. A lot of folks out there was wondering, because I switch, they say, why? Well, why does Jack switch so much between one provider and another provider when he's streaming his shows? Well, I went to the last provider because Justin TV was apparently, people were saying something about too many ads. But what I have to do is I have to say thanks to Justin TV also. You guys know we were on the other broadcasting station. But with Justin TV, it allows my viewers, you guys, to be able to see these shows wherever you are. Jessica before has watched on her, I believe her iPad or iPhone, in a car. on a mobile connection. We have people watching on iPads. We have people watching on Android systems because Justin TV is a little bit more mature than the other service. I'm not saying the other service is bad by any means. I think the video quality is great and there's a lot going for it. Plus, Justin TV records these. Mike asked me many times, said, Jack, how come these aren't being recorded anymore? Because he used to like to come in after work and maybe view them. So I got to do what's right for you guys. That's what I got to do. Whatever that is and however that works out. Plus, there's a channel, if you guys have a Roku box. I don't know how many of you have a Roku box. I know I do. There's a Justin TV client for the Roku. So you could be watching on the big screen right now, maybe working on your editor right in front of you. So there's a lot of things here that are beneficial, and that's why I wanted to shout out to Justin TV. Hey, speaking about shout outs, let me just yell out there too. Let's go through this list one more time because we got a lot more people that joined us here this morning, and I'm very appreciative of you joining in. I looked back at a couple of my first shows. I sat and talked to myself. There was nobody here at all. It was pretty interesting, you know, that you do a show and you talk to yourself. So it's because of you people that I'm here. Let's make another shout out. Okay. Andy, there you go. Jake the Snake is watching a big screen right now. Brian is too. Hey, thanks guys. Look, I can wave. Look how big that hand is. Anyway, let's give a shout out right now again to Andy Taylor, Brian, Fabian, Fly Here, Jeff, Jake the Snake, good morning, Jessica, Jody, June, Kevin, Mike JP from Jersey, Serena, whoo, I almost got smacked for that one, Serena, Teresa, Tom Mack, user 2552 Jeff, and user 6217. See, and Teresa heard that too, that Jack almost got smacked right in the head by that one, and that was a slip. That wasn't even on purpose like I normally do. All right, now, let's not get in a fight in the chat room. Okay, with that said, and all that out of the way, we have another 15 minutes here or so. So I'm going to walk you through the editor. If you don't have the filters we've been talking about all morning, we're going to walk you into the editor and show you how you can use Photoshop Elements 10. You probably already know how to do this, but we're going to take a walk, and I'm going to show you a couple ways you may not know or may not be thinking of what I would be talking about. So let me move the chat room out of the way here and bring up my desktop. First, let's bring up my Photoshop editor. There we go. Let's bring this up here. All right. Desktop. Wrong screen. You'd think by now this would actually know which screen I want to do, you know, what screen I want to use, but yeah, it never does. You know how that goes. Story of my life, right guys? You know, anyway. Okay. There we go. Done. Show my mouse. Okay, so here is Photoshop Elements. Now this is, I believe this is in Elements 9 also, possibly 10. We're going to put this on there too. Get rid of this altogether. And we'll just kind of fix this up a little bit here. Let's bring this over here. Just feels like more like I'm talking to you folks when I do this. Alright, so hopefully that doesn't get in the way. So let's go ahead here and we're going to talk a little bit about how you would put a filter on here if you don't have any filters. Now most of you would say right away, oh Jack, piece of cake. We'll go under filter and we'll go to adjustment, no. Autistic, no. Pixelate, no. That's not going to be right, Jack. We can't find it. We can't find camera filters. Oh, we can't do it. Well, here's what we're going to look at. And I should have probably picked out a better picture than this one, but we're going to try to use this one. You would go under here to where it says create a new fill or adjustment layer. That's where we're going to be looking. Now, if we click this pull down menu, right down here, you'll see where it says photo filter. See, it doesn't say camera filter or lens filter, right? Like you would think, like you'd be thinking. It's a photo filter. So there's a filter that we're using on our picture or on our photo, right? So you just simply click on that. And what it's going to give you down here in the bottom is actually Let me try to make an adjustment here for you folks. Bear with me because I want to show you. I think it's more important for you to see it. Let's see if we can bring that up there. Alright. So right here on the filters, if we click this pull down menu, you're going to see here warming filter. Now what is warm? Does anybody know the difference between warm and a cooling filter? Cool is blue. Warming is orange color. Think of this, and I'm sorry I threw that out there wrong. If it's warming, it's like the sunlight. That's the way I remember it. So if it's warming it, it's turning it more of an orange color. But you can see there, just by adding the cooling filter, how it already made everything more blue in that picture. Now we can also play with the density. Yeah, maybe you can't see the picture. Let's bring the picture back into this. Alright. So we can see now the picture is more blue. Here's a cooling filter 82. So these are just like using that different filter effects on your lens filters. A cooling filter. So now you see under photo filters it tells us. Here's an 80. Alright. Now if we go to the warming filter, we're going to go to the other side of that. I like that, Jessica. We're here for you, Jack. Thanks. You guys keep me on the straight and narrow. I'm going to edit that out of the recording, though. Okay. The warming filter, you're going to see here where it's going to cause more of a orange cast. There's another one. It's very, very subtle. And there's another one. Now, you can go straight color. We can actually go into our color palette here. And you can see that effect being changed right on the picture itself. So all it's doing basically is adding that same type of filter effect we just talked about our actual lens filters adding. Let's go into deep blue. So you get the basic idea. Now that's okay. And you're saying, well, that's okay, but the only thing I don't like about those filters is I don't like it because it affects the whole picture. But remember the circular polarizer filter? Remember how you turn it, right? It turns and you can do different things with it. Well, we have to be able to do that in Photoshop, right? There has to be a way to do this. So let's get rid of that layer. Just going to right click on it and delete the layer. Click yes. I'm going to duplicate my background using Command or Control J. We all know how to do that already. And what we're going to do this time is we are going to use our gradient filter. And I'm going to adjust these colors down here to be more blue, like this, because I want this gradient that I'm going to use up here to be blue over transparent. Because that way I can work with this filter either way. I can either make the water more blue or the sky more blue. And let me show you how to do that. So we're going to take that filter and you're going to hold your shift key down and we're going to drag from the top down towards the bottom or towards the boat. Let's say right about there, and leave the mouse go. And you can see instantly how we changed the sky color, but we did not change the water color. Right? We changed the sky color, we didn't change the water color. Works very, very nice. And it actually left a little bit of the white back here because you want that separation in your sky, and your bottom, right? Your sky and your base of your picture. You don't want the landscape to be one big scene. You want to break it up somehow. So that's a good way to break it up. Now, with that said, let's take a step back. Let's undo that. Now we want to work with the water. We say, well, Jack, no, we want to make the water more blue. So again, hold your shift key down, this time drag from the bottom and go up. Right to about the land and leave the mouse go. Now you can see how the water became more blue. You can actually play with the opacity on that layer. We can drop it down a little bit. We can bring it back up. So the opacity will actually give you that nice smooth transition into that color. So hopefully you can see how that works. Now what I like about doing it this way, and even the circular polarizer filter, and I've actually taken multiple shots before with turning that filter one way and then the other, because maybe you want to take a picture and have both sides more blue. You can by all means use the photo filter effect. But if you want to have that little break that we talked about, I can go back up here now, hold my shift down, I can bring down here and leave go. So now I added blue down here, and now I just added more blue tint to the skyline, changing the whole overall picture to be more filter-like, I would guess you could say. Now, you say that's all great and everything, Jack, so wonder if you wanted to play with that magenta filter. You can definitely do that just by changing. Anytime you want to change all this, just simply change this color right here in your color picker. Let's go more magenta. I don't know why we wanted to do this. Maybe you want to put a cast in this boat. So if we hold shift and we drag this way, something like that, you can see right away where it adds the magenta. So there's a lot you can do by playing with your filters and putting effects on your pictures. People will start to ask you, how did you take that? Where did you take that? And you don't have to tell them. I mean, just tell them you took it in the Bahamas. That's where this was. So there you have it. Okay. And Kevin's right. You can also use a masking effect to do this. There's a way you can mask it. I played with that earlier. Now, the only thing I don't like about masking effects is, the only thing I would say I didn't like about it was you kind of have to, just stepping back here a couple. Okay. Yeah, let me bring that layer back. Nope, not that layer. This is live TV. This is what you get sometimes. Alright, let's duplicate that again. So if we're on that background layer, you can actually do a lot of stuff like Kevin was just saying. We can add a photo filter. Let's say we added blue. To the overall picture. And then you can actually just take on this mask right here. You can take here and you can start using your brush, and you can actually open up some of the different skyline and stuff. And I was playing with that kind of last night a little bit. Just to see how it would look. So you can also tint it, or like Kevin was saying, you can give it a little bit of definition between the two different sides to give it more of a break in your scenery. So you can use a mask. There's a lot of ways to do it there, and that's a good question. I appreciate that. Okay, so I'm just looking here, see if there's any more questions in the chat rooms. Then I'll give you your assignment for the week. We can't go away without having an assignment. I actually have a photo shoot today I'm going on, so taking my daughter as an assistant. And so hopefully she makes a good assistant. She listens to me. I think that's going to be the key element here. Hopefully she pays attention to the old man and takes some words of advice. Okay, so does anybody have any other questions before we give you your assignment? I like that, Andy, a tobacco gradient. I'm going to have to look for that. Pretty cool. Have to check that out. So obviously you know your assignment this week, right? You know what it's going to be. I mean, the assignment this week is going to be for you folks to actually give me 3 pictures on our Facebook group. I will create an album. I'll put the album up there very shortly. and you're going to do 3 pictures. I hope that you go out and take them, and if you have filters, I hope you use different filters. But give us 3 shots. Give us the original picture with no filtering effect, and then take that same picture, and you can either take it outside with your filters if you have them. That's going to be my choice, I hope. I'm going to go out and actually take some shots. Or you can simply go into Photoshop Elements or your editor of choice and add some filtering effects and get creative. You know, get creative. Don't just make it blue and red, pink and green, or some overlay. But we want a total of 3. I think that way we can see your, your artwork and see how everything's going. So that should be a lot of fun. All right. So with that said, we are going to wrap it up here this morning. So thanks again for everybody for joining me this morning for Photography Weekly. I'm glad that you was able to check in with me here and hang out for a little while, for an hour on a Sunday morning. And like I said, you guys being here makes this show so much better because you're here. If you weren't here and I sat, believe me, I started this show, I was sitting and talking to myself saying, I wish I'd find somebody to watch this. And then I started picking up a couple of you guys as viewers, and then we kind of took off from there. So there you have it. So until next week, as always, and like I said, I got a photo shoot today, so I'll be going to do this myself. Keep your shutters clicking. Keep the editors editing. And guys, girls, and everybody else out there, we'll see you back here next Sunday morning for another Photography Weekly. And if you haven't yet, please join our Facebook group and our Google group, either one, or join them both for even more fun. So until then, I'll see you back here next Sunday. Take care, and goodbye for now. And cut. All right, that's a wrap for the recording, guys. Jody, I'm glad you made it back there too. Jessica left already. She flew out of there. She's off to get the kids. Bye, Jessica. Good to see you again. Take care. Hey, thanks, Teresa. I need the luck today. I don't even know what I'm shooting. How about that, guys? I don't know what I'm shooting. And this is one of the first times ever. But I got called for a 25-year something. I don't know if it's a 25-year wedding renewal of vows. That could be a different shoot. Or if it's a 25-year wedding anniversary party. So I'm not really